Hey everyone, welcome back to Financial Education Sucks podcast. My name is Grant Raskin, founding partner, MGR Financial Management. And with us today is my good friend, Mr. Ryan Alexander with I Teach Credit. Ryan, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Doing well, man. Living the dream and trying to bring as many other people with me as possible.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for being on.
Thanks
As you
for
know,
having me, man. This is great.
yeah, man.
I
No,
love the title, by the way. Financial education sucks. It's the whole reason I'm in business. So
yeah, which is actually the reason why I'm really happy that you're our first guest. So
cool.
I've done a few of these myself. We'll be releasing them as I had told people before. But you are officially number one, man. So thank you. I know we've talked about this for a long time. Um, you do a lot of work on social media platforms. So trying to kind of steal some of your ideas as well. But
Yeah, man.
look, today's about education, right? And I, kind of jumping in here. Um, as everyone can see, your company's I Teach Credit, right? So
So
I
I
think
brand everything as I teach credit. So it started off kind of funny. It started off as just like a side fun hobby. The side fun hobby led to like helping a bunch of people out, and then helping a bunch of people out led to like a whole social media channel, and then that led to like, oh, like I'm creating a business now. Like I have to be legit and real. So I teach credit, anything credit related. Everybody automatically assumes your credit repair. So I had to deviate away from that. So my actual company is called 3 Digit Consulting. There's three
right.
credit scores, three credit bureaus, and there's 3 digits in the credit score. So 3 Digit Consulting just is kind of what the company name is, but everything is branded as I Teach Credit.
Yeah, and that's how, I think everybody recognizes you, especially on social media as well. So you got a pretty big following out there, um, which is awesome. You're over like 100,000 followers on TikTok, right?
Yeah, we're over 112 or 113 now. I can't remember, but yeah, we I had another video. All the algorithms changed, but the algorithm changed in October last year, and I mean, growth came to a screeching halt. Everybody in the industry did, and then recently, I've noticed things change. And in the last week, like I popped a video that's over 300, almost 400,000 now, 400,000 views. I don't know how many thousand likes. That video alone's gotten me 1,500 followers in a week.
Wow.
So I mean,
That's
it's
crazy,
you
man.
just don't know. But it's kind of like like investing, right? Investing. It's not about timing the market; it's time in the market. You can't pick those days where things are just going to pop off or drop. You just got to be in it. Creating content's the same way. You just don't know which video is going to pop off, but one that day when it comes, it's a beautiful thing to ride it out.
It's not Ron. I agree with you 1,000%. Right. So our goal is to release videos. And like I said on my first one, my producer Zach interviewed me. It was, you know, who are you trying to get out to? We're trying to get out to everybody, right? Just it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but if there's a piece of information that we can provide, hey, let's do it. You know.
Yep.
So I got to ask the big question that most people probably get wrong, especially when I say your name and I refer you out to people and clients of mine. I don't need credit repair, right? Like I don't want a consolidation company. And I'm like, no,
No.
no, no, Ryan doesn't do that. So, Ryan, what do you do, man? Teach us credit?
So I had a networking event this morning, and here's my simple the elevator pitch. I teach people the fastest ways to build and structure 800 credit profiles with $100,000 credit limits and enough points and miles so that you can travel the world and see it with your own eyes instead of looking through somebody else's Instagram or TikTok channels. Credit repair gives you the fish, tell you sit back, relax, Grant, we'll take care, we'll delete, we'll dispute, we'll remove. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm going to sell you the fishing rod. I'm going to teach you and educate you on how the credit and financial system works. And then I'm going to show you how to feed yourself and your family for the rest of your life by helping you properly understand how to manage and maximize a credit profile. So, credit repair is trying to delete and remove stuff. Instead of deleting it, I dilute it and add on top of it, which makes it way better, way easier, and it's 100% guaranteed. The results of what I do are guaranteed. Credit repair, removing and disputing is never guaranteed.
So, Ryan, you've worked with my, clients of mine, friends of mine. Like you've helped so many people personally as well, right? Like I've seen results, credit scores jump in 30 days, 60 days. There's got to be formulas behind it. So is it you taking those formulas and teaching someone, guys, here's how to do it, and then we implement it ourselves, or is that something you kind of track with clients? How does that
Yeah.
work?
So the way my coaching works, so I have group coaching, which is just basic general education Q&A stuff. The
Right.
one-on-one coaching is where you hand me the Rubik's Cube and I look to see how bad and screwed up it is.
Okay.
And based on how bad and screwed up it is, I'm going to say, okay, you got to do this and this. Once you do these couple things, then we are repositioned. We can reassess, and then we can take some different action. Every single person is starting at a different, like we'll say, a different starting point.
Sure.
Some people, they have no credit. Okay, so we're going to say on a scale here, no credit people are here. Bad credit people are here. Good credit people that just don't know how to maximize are here. So
Yep.
for each person, all I do is look and say, okay, where on the scale are they? And then how fast can I get them to from their current position to their desired position?
And
And
what
each person's just slightly different.
and now to cut you off, what's desired, right? Like we all hear that magic number. Is it that I have to get to 720? It's got to be 800. Is there a magic number that the world opens up additional doors, or how
Yeah.
does it work?
So the reality is for most banks and lending institutions, when
Okay.
it comes to borrowing money, whether it's a credit card, a loan, whatever the case may be, once you hit, so there's like different price points, right? So it's kind of like anything else. Like if you buy a certain number, you get a discount. So with
Sure.
credit, when you're in like below 500, you're most likely not getting approved and the worst thing ever. Once you hit 620, 580 to 620, there's another price break. When you
Okay.
hit 680, there's another price break. When you hit 720, there's another price break. And typically with most banks and lenders, once you hit the 760 credit score, now I could go down the rabbit hole and speak for 5 hours on this, but you have a FICO 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 10T, depending on what you're going for. For most people, when you hit the 760 range and higher, you're
Okay.
going to get the most preferential rates with the most preferential loan conditions. Bottom line, 760 is the mark where everybody should strive for. Having an 800 is just bragging rights. You don't get typically better, you don't get better rates, you don't get any more favorable conditions. Once you hit that 760 range, you're pretty much in the clear.
So, Ryan, they talk about looking at the three bureaus, right? We
Mhm.
hear it all the time, three bureaus, and we take the mid score.
Yep.
So we're looking for all bureaus to be over 760. Is that sort of the goal in mind?
It's a good question. And the answer is it's better to have all three over than not. But
Sure.
remember, what they do is when they look, so for example, a mortgage, right? And let's just talk about it real quickly. When you look at Credit Karma, you're going to say, oh, my Credit Karma score says I'm a 720, but I went to my mortgage broker and he said I'm a 650. The reason for that is a FICO 8 and a Vantage scoring system model, what they're doing is looking at the last 2 years. Okay.
Okay.
It's more about recent activity. Okay. Because typically a FICO 8 scoring model, they're going to give you a $3,000 credit card or a $30,000 auto loan, 5 years, 6 years at the most. When you're looking at a $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 mortgage over 30 years,
Big
they're
difference.
doing more homework. So they want to look
Sure.
back further. And
Okay.
that's why understanding those algorithms and understanding the factors that make up. So regardless of the algorithm, whether it's a FICO 2 or a FICO 10, the factors are the same. The scoring models are different. And so when you're looking, you want to try to get all three to that 750, 760, just because when you look at a mortgage, you have three numbers. You could have a 560, a 700, and a 750. They're going to take the 700 because it's the middle number. It's not an average of the three. It's that middle number, whatever it is. But there's other algorithms where they're taking like a cumulative number, factoring or funneling it into one score, and that one score is what they base everything off of. Some banks and credit cards, they only use one bureau, like American Express only uses Experian. So you have to make sure that Experian score, if you're trying to get American Express, you have, let's face it, this is all I do. I wave these around in my videos because people see the shiny object
I
and
see
they're all
you
like, I
all the
want
time.
that. And it's like, I look like a pretentious douchebag, but guess what? If this is what you want, I'll help you get it the fastest way possible. But I do that by helping you understand all the factors that influence all the different algorithms, no matter what scoring model you're looking at. By understanding the factors, if your credit score doesn't have a 7 in front of it, you're being penalized ultimately. Once you're in the 700s and higher, you're pretty much okay. 760 is where it's best.
So we got to get to 760. That's the goal. And
760 should be the minimum goal, right? Like when you're in the 700s, you're kind of at altitude, but you're still climbing. If you're
okay,
anything below 700, you need to climb.
we got to climb.
Yep.
So listen, every day on the radio, the news, the whatever social media platform, there's always stuff that we can improve this, or we can do that, or take this off your credit, right? I'm sure not all of it's true. So there's got to be some really big, like, what's the biggest myth that's out there? If we
So
were,
the
if we were
biggest
just
myth,
sort of throwing something out there.
yeah, the two biggest myths in my opinion, and again, this is all my opinion. Anything I say, you can obviously, what's
Hey,
that?
that's why you're here.
Yeah, you
I
can
want your
always audit anything I say, but here's the two biggest myths in my opinion. The first biggest myth is that credit repair can help you really help repair your credit. It never can, and here's the simple, logical answer as to why. Credit repair is removing items and removing history from your credit profile. The number one factor in your credit score is payment history.
Okay.
So if you're not adding payments to your profile, you're never really helping your profile. You might be trying to get rid of some of the negatives, but you're never actually building and growing, because if I'm going to lend you money, I want to see how are you paying the money and the bills back that you have now opened.
Okay.
If
So,
all you have is negative stuff and all you're doing is removing the stuff that you did have, now I have nothing to base you off of. Now you're going back to an 18-year-old kid who's brand new to the system. It's kind of like, how do I get a job with no experience? You got no experience, you're not getting credit. So it's
Ryan,
like a double negative. And even people in bankruptcy, people like, I'm in bankruptcy. When can I start building credit? I'm like, right now. The second biggest myth, so credit repair doesn't really work. Credit building and structuring does work, which is what my educational company does.
okay.
The second big, what's that?
I said, okay, keep rolling.
Cool. The second biggest myth to credit is people think having more of these are bad for you. And it's the exact opposite. And I'm going to purposely show up these are my business cards through Amex. These are my personal cards. David Ramsey, know the name?
I know the name pretty well.
He calls this American distress. Do you know why? Because he says credit cards are dangerous and they're bad and people don't need them because they can hurt your financial future. Automobiles could kill people. You don't see us telling people to stop driving, do you?
No, listen, I'm not arguing with you on that one.
The reality is, if we just learn discipline and delayed gratification and saying, I want it now, I need it now, I'm going to have it now, instead say, no, you want it, cool. Save up, buy it, use a credit card, earn credit, build credit limits, get cash back or earn points and rewards so you can travel the world for free, and then just pay it off right away.
So,
And if
Ryan,
people learned that, credit cards would never be looked at bad. So credit cards and having credit cards, like a portfolio of credit cards, that's not a bad thing. It's actually a beautiful thing.
so Ryan, that brings me back to something you talk about a lot, because I've seen you speak a few times. You talk about utilizing the credit card, right? But then paying it off every week. Like, I hear you saying that to people all the time. Listen, you're always like, hey, on Friday, make your payment on your credit card and then move it forward. So I guess what you're saying is take full advantage of everything they're offering you, because like you said earlier, there's vacations, there's trips, there's so many things that you can use when you accumulate these points. You just got to know how to do it.
So, yeah, I mean, the simple answer to your original comment was, if I came to you right now and I asked to borrow $1,000 from you, do you want me to pay you back in 1 week or in 4 weeks?
Sure.
Simple answer, right?
Right.
Now, if I go and I use that credit card for every single purchase possible, and I'm paying it off every single week, and at the end of the year, I get a free trip to go to Europe, who wouldn't do it? Even if I don't like to fly, but I want to go get 2 or 3 free hotel stays so I can drive my kids to the local soccer tournament and not have to worry about getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get there for their 8 o'clock game. Right? Like real life scenario. Like I'm literally in that.
Look, I agree with you 100%. And you showed me ideas that we're doing that. Listen, our trip that we go on in January.
And for people listening to this, Grant's one of those people, he didn't have bad credit. He just wanted to know how to maximize his profile. I have a lot of people that don't have bad credit. They just have thin credit profiles, or they just don't know because they weren't taught. Like, has anybody ever taught you about credit? Like, you're a successful financial advisor. Has anybody ever taught you about credit your whole life?
Listen, that answer's no, right? And that's the real reason why, when you go back, that's why we started this show, right? It's because people just don't know. And over the years, you've seen it, I see it. You meet with clients, you talk to people, and they're like, no one ever told us, right? Like, what class were you taught where it was, hey, this is how your credit score works, this is how you just weren't, it was never there. And Ryan, you're right. I think a lot of people take the thought process of, it doesn't make sense for me to talk to Ryan because I have, a 700 score, and he's only going to help people with a 550. I'll tell you right now, I think you do even better work for helping those with better credit scores to get to the next level. because that's what he did for me, right? And it was a game changer. So both business and personal.
Yeah.
So it's been great for me, and I thank you for that, right? It just opens up more doors.
Absolutely. And you're very welcome. I mean, but like, again, like there's so many people that are in your position or situation. Like I had a doctor down in Dallas, Texas. He was following me. He hired me for coaching. And I said, here's what we're going to do. He was spending $350,000 per month. $350,000 per month. He's got 5 locations. And he said, I'm earning this amount. I feel like I'm doing it all wrong. I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to restructure everything. We went in. I restructured his entire portfolio. His first month, he went from earning 350,000 points. He earned over 1,000,000 points in his first month.
It's insane.
Then he flew me down and I taught all 20 some employees that he had because he's like, now he was an 800 credit score borrower that just didn't know how to build a portfolio of cards for all of his locations. I went in and restructured it for him. For most of his staff, they were, bad credit situations, didn't know, or had bad past and never recovered. And what I was able to do was bridge the gap from where they are to where he is and putting them on a program that says, hey, it's the same. It's the same work. The scale may be different because in the beginning, like I said, some people they're starting here, some people they're starting here. It's all about saying, okay, if you're here, right? So this is a brand new person, this is bad credit person. We may have some work to do. But if you don't start doing that work, that scale just keeps sliding and you're never closing in on the desired situation. It's just going to keep going like this until you say, okay, stop, let's go to work. And then you close that gap. And that's what I'm able to do with some of those people because, there's people just like you. It's not bad credit. Like I have so many people that are really successful. Like, I don't know how to give my kids good credit. I add them to a credit card. I'm like, that's cool. But do you understand how to get them to a 700? No, I'll give your kid a 700 credit score within 30 days of turning 18. Bet.
That's awesome, man.
And listen, I don't mean to be cocky.
I've seen you do it. No, listen, I'm
that confident. I know what I'm doing.
It's wild to me when you change certain things, whether it's time of payments, right? Or whether it's, you came back to me and said, Grant, listen, open up these two other cards. Like, Ryan, I don't need to open up more cards. No, here's why. And you restructure it. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, well, next thing you know, it's one to another. And like I mentioned earlier as we were talking, I'm using those points as my trips. They're paying for the flights to Turks and Caicos, right? Like we're going in January with the family. Because of you, I don't need to pay for flights.
Now for fun and context, let people know roughly. I don't remember. I know it hasn't been that long. How long have we even known each other?
Dude, like 9 months.
I don't think it's a year yet. So like in less than a year.
I haven't had our year anniversary yet.
Yeah. To build, I mean,
and Ryan, we probably just started working together 6 months.
Probably 6-7 months.
Yeah, man, it's
and that brings up another good point. Credit doesn't happen overnight. Yes. Can I get a kid a 700 credit score in 30 days from turning 18? Yes. Does that mean they qualify to buy a house? No. No. Can we put them in a position to within 3 months? I can get an 18-year-old kid approved for a mortgage, assuming they have the income within 3 to 6 months. Yes, I can. If you actually look it up, it'll tell you it takes 6 months to establish a FICO score. There are ways to manipulate the system, and you can absolutely do it quicker. I don't care if it's for 18-year-old kids. I don't care if it's for, people that move into the country from other countries, and now all of a sudden they're trying to get started. Like I have doctors that have moved from foreign countries. They come to the United States. They have no credit. Right. They made $1 million in others, wherever they were in Europe or whatever. They have no credit, so they're starting over with crazy, stupid high interest rates, crazy, stupid high insurance rates.
So here's a question that I get asked a lot. Someone's looking to buy a property. Someone's looking to buy their first home, commercial property, whatever it may be. Business, personal, I don't care. They're going to use credit and they go, hey, we want to raise our score. Mm-hmm. Right? I want to get to the next level. How far out do you typically recommend then someone start? Right? If I need to take my score up 50, 60 points, where do you typically recommend if, again, on the topic of, let's say, real estate, how early should they reach out to you in the process?
So it's a good question. What I would suggest is the day you think you want to buy a car, buy a house, start a business is the day you need to say, okay, what's the first deciding factor on any of that? Credit.
Yep.
You can I have a client who sold his company for $220 million.
I know this story. It's great, man.
Couldn't get approved for a credit card, couldn't get approved for an auto loan, couldn't get approved for a mortgage. He was trying to buy two $8 million condos in Florida. And the guy was pissed. He calls me in, came as a referral. I came in, I sat down, I looked at a couple things, and I sat down and I says, okay. I said, here's your problem. I'm like, he's like, I don't understand. I can pay cash. I said, well, then pay cash because your money can't save you right now. I said, so you either play by the rules of the system or don't borrow money and don't be mad. And he was mad. And his employees put their heads down like, oh my God. And I just sat and looked him right in the eye. And I'm like, it's very simple. He goes, well, how long is it going to take? And I said, probably 6 months to a year because you don't pay people back.
Right.
Well, it's stupid. You're talking $300 balances on credit cards. $300. The guy's got $220 million in the bank.
Listen, man,
no go.
I just because they have it in the bank doesn't make them smart, right? I've seen that in my career as well.
It also indicates you get $220 million in the bank, but if you don't pay people back, we don't want to lend you money.
And that's where it is, right? If I can use someone else's money to grow and build, why not, right? So, right. I can't thank you enough for being on today, man. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me just to have you on. First off, I love talking. We love hanging out.
Absolutely.
But I always want to sort of end with, if you just could give one piece of advice, right, out to the world. Hey, this is my message when it comes to my business. I want to deliver this. Spotlight's on you, buddy. What would you say?
So my biggest thing is I am just such a huge proponent of credit cards because, like, I always look at this and say, when you were a kid, you dreamed about getting Willy Wonka's golden ticket, right? Yep. As a kid, that led to a world of your imagination, according to the song. As an adult, right, I remember credit cards, when we would go to Smithsonian's, how do you say that word? Smithsonian's. When you would go to like football games, when you would go to water parks like Hershey Park or Dorney Park, whatever. When you did fun things, I always remember this being the ticket to fun and freedom. The problem is this can also cause many people hardships. So if I had any one tip, the most important concept with American Express was always pay your credit card to zero every single month. Okay. That's why they charge annual fees. Do you know why American Express has big annual fees? Because their principle was to have you not pay interest. And you're like, whoa, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. I kind of really like American Express. I developed a strategy to say, let's make it even simpler.
Okay.
If we pay credit cards to zero every week, you'll never miss a payment. You'll never pay a penny of interest. How many people listening to this are buried in credit card debt? You'll never have credit card debt, and you'll have low utilization. Low utilization will lead you to both higher credit scores and to higher credit limits. And by using credit cards for every single purchase, you can then earn points so that you can go see the world with your own eyes instead of through the eyes through somebody else's TikTok and Instagram channel.
I love it, man.
That's my biggest piece of advice is just get used to paying credit cards to zero every single week, every 7 days for 7 weeks. Pay your credit cards to zero and watch your credit score soar. And then 3 to 6 months, watch your credit limits increase too.
Look, it makes a huge difference. Look, I know what you did for me, man. So I thank you.
You did the work. I just guided you. But remember, you did the work. And that's what it always comes down to.
You put down the roadmap. But I really appreciate it. I thank you for being on today. Ryan, before we end today, man, please let everybody know, where can I find you online? Where's the best place to get in touch with you, my friend?
So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm going to make a recommendation very strategically and specifically. Send me an email, info@iteachcredit. If you go to my social media handles, I have at least 20. I know on TikTok for sure, I have 20 imposter accounts. Nice. They're all trying to steal people's contact information and like swindle them out of money and crypto and all kinds of stuff. Send me an email, info@iteachcredit. Everything you see is going to be branded like this. Like if you look, like even on my phone, this is the phone for all my video. Everything is branded the same. Okay. Awesome. And as you can see, this is where it comes from the black card. but just send me an email. It's the best and easiest thing to do. If I ever send you a message first, it's definitely not me because I'm way too busy to be doing that.
Ryan, thank you, man.
Grant, thanks for having me on here, man. This was awesome, and best of continued success for you, man. This is really, really fun, and I love financial education sucks because people go to college, they spend $100,000 in college education, they come out, and they don't know the basics of budgeting, credit, and investing.
Listen, my friend, thank you again. Have a
You
good
got it,
one.
brother.
And we'll have to have you back, dude. We'll have to have
Hey,
you back.
man, let's go. We'll
All
have a
right,
1-year anniversary.
have a good one, brother.
Cheers, buddy. Have a good
Okay,
day.
bud.